your
That's what he
Facebook and
said.
mine,
Yep.
there's the story that Chavez said that the U.S. weapons caused the Haiti earthquake. That
So
happened
there
this
you go.
week. Also, if they go to our Facebook sites, Mrs. Steele, here are some of the stories and headlines that they can catch up on. Thousands of Americans are dying from the H1N1 vaccine. The liars and whores of the oil-soaked monopoly press, our spy-riddled monopoly press, are not talking about it.
So what else do you have? You've got Google to join forces with the NSA. Now that's going to intrude into the cyber system. They're going to have backdoor access. And I mean, that's pretty scary, to private citizens' information.
Yeah, backdoor access
That's pretty
to
scary.
to finish it off, to American citizens' private data.
Private data.
So their
Yeah,
email,
all their
phone
info,
calls, websites the visited,
Everything.
and internet purchases,
all their
etc.
emails,
all
what they're
that-
talking about,
Yeah,
who
they'll-
their friends are.
So as
They're gonna know
McLuhan
everything.
said, there is no more privacy. Now, there's what others have you?
Well,
Why
you've
don't
got
you
the
rattle off
birther-
another?
Well, look, we're still in Obamageddon time. I mean, it's all about, is he a fraud? Let's ask that question. I mean, there's the birther issue. Nobody at Columbia State remembers him.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's
His
an
records.
invisible man. I mean, he's an actor. He has no records. He doesn't have a birth certificate. He's from Kenya. He's a Kenyan man.
It shows that the power of the powers that be, the popish persons, the black and white pope, are so powerful. And as Eric Phelps at VaticanAssassins.org has been saying for years, the 14th Amendment, Latin American colony. America's not even a colony of the Vatican; it's a district.
It's a
And they can just
district.
put it's a district of
We're
Columbia.
a colony.
And Canada's colony.
Yeah.
So they could put in whoever they like as the president.
Exactly.
And George in the previous show was doing a great job micromanaging what's going on. But
Absolutely excellent, George. George is great.
the act of voting is a joke.
Well, we know that.
There's no connection between who becomes the president and who you vote for, or the majority.
Well, we
It's
know
just a
they're
joke.
all appointed or anointed, and they're all the ones they don't want, they assassinate, Lenny.
Now they want to cut the industrialization in order to bring in, deindustrialize in order to bring in, in order to cull the human herd.
Well, that's a way of that's right. That's
And
how
the-
they'll bring in the eugenics movement. They'll continue the eugenics movement. which
And
is-
the
yeah.
international pack of climate crooks have once again been found to have made more mistakes in the UN climate report.
You mean Al Gore and Maurice Strong, con artists extraordinaire? What did they do? I mean, not
Well,
only are they
they've made-
the creators of the carbon credit scheme, but they're cashing in on it. They create the company to cash in on the scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, Al Gore in April of 1995 with his first Green speech. So it's Greengate, Gore with the Greengate, Climategate speech.
Yeah.
Started the whole ball rolling.
Yeah, he did.
And it's all, so they're con artists and they're cashing in.
Now, as a result
Yeah.
of that, of this exposure of the fact that the science behind it is all corrupted and being manufactured, that's what McLuhan meant when he said he was in a rage that the arts and sciences were in the pockets of the secret societies. As a result, Prince Charles is coming out. He can't stand the fact that the truth about climate gates come out. And Prince Charles is quite a laughable character. A very much satanically influenced. It's rather sad what's going to happen to him.
Well, he grew up around it, excuse me.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's got that World Wildlife Federation. Isn't that? It's the
Yeah.
same logo as the World Wrestling Federation. They had to change it, didn't
Yeah.
they? Because of him. Well, you know what? He's always talking about the rainforest, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not interested in preserving the rainforests. It's all a scam.
Now, the other news story people can pick up is on our website, on Facebook and Twitter, is that there's international hearings have begun on, quote, what the European Union calls falsified swine flu pandemic, unquote. So we talked about it
talked about
right
that a
off
long time
for
ago,
years
yes.
ago. Now the Europeans are starting to actually look into it. That
So
shows
it
you
was a big pharma scam again.
shows you
heist
NWO,
hoax.
the New World Order versus the Old World Order.
Yeah.
The New World Order is the EU. The Old World Order is what we used to call the Anglo-American establishment.
And then you've got the, well, we've had a number of earthquakes. You know, we're going into sort of the
A lot of earthquakes.
You know, in
a lot of
California,
earthquakes.
you've got harpquakes, but also, you know, there's the caldera in Wyoming, and the plume goes down 410 miles. Now, if that erupts, they could give it a little help, but if that erupts, that would definitely be a caldera getting. Let's face it.
Yeah.
The sky would just go black. You wouldn't even be able to see the sun.
Absolutely. You know what? There's one thing when you were talking about Google and their partnership with the NSA.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. They have something called. In the article, they talked about how the entire population will soon come under what's called a white space digital blanket, and that refers to the fact that they're moving out of the analog television signal into the digital, and of course, that was all done so that they could make more of the technoslaves.
Well,
It's the technoslaves and the technopeasants.
For people like me,
Yes.
will I still be able to use an antenna, rabbit ears, to get regular TV? Or will that become obsolete?
Well,
What will happen with that?
it won't become obsolete, but there won't be any television stations legally broadcasting using that system. But I would imagine that what's going to
Underground
happen
TV?
is we'll start to have not black ops, but underground, as you say,
Underground.
TV.
It's
where
like underground radio,
students-
underground TV.
Yeah, pirate TV.
Pirate
on
TV.
those
Yeah.
signals, on those. It's so the jungle is neutral and the technology is neutral. The electric age cannot be bought, sold, or stolen. The more they try and control us, it's like quicksilver. It
Exactly.
gets away.
It does,
So
yeah.
if they move to digital, then they
Someone's
vacate
already one
analog,
step ahead,
and we'll
yeah.
go into
Exactly.
And of course, the equipment by the TV stations is going to be scrapped. It's going to be worthless. They'll write it off their books.
Yeah.
So the ham operators will get a hold of it, and will be able to use it to broadcast pirate TV. And there'll be a whole underground, just like in Russia, they had what was called samizdat. It was a form of underground press. There's going to be a form of underground television, and of course, we'll
we're
keep you up to
already
date.
there in a lot of ways with the news. I mean, there's underground news.
There's underground news.
We've got underground news.
But this is more than underground news. This is underground television, where
course.
without
Yeah.
a license from the CRTC, they'll
Yeah.
be able to turn on their transmitter, broadcast what's really going on, and then shut down. And people will be able to stay on their rabbit ears and get the real story and forget all the cable companies.
And with the new technology that they have, they won't be able to track it.
Yeah, they can't
You
track
see what
anything.
happens is they've gone that way, and you hold on to what you've had, and they're lost. They're absolutely
Absolutely.
lost. So what happened with the? You've got the Council of the Governors. There's 10 governors, and there are also 10 provinces, which are Jesuit order provinces, and 10 FEMA regions. Now this is in the USA.
Uh-huh.
All of the USA is divided into 10 sections.
Uh-huh.
So isn't that something they've been talking about for quite some time? And it's also dividing Canada into smaller areas, or
Yeah,
would be
there
like a
was-
North American division.
There was the book
Yeah.
that came out decades ago, which we were following, called "The Nine Nations in North America." You may want to get a hold of it, and this is sort of a takeoff on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's how he might do it.
Yes.
And also they're trying to disarm people. I think we have to realize that that's part of the scheme. They don't want anyone to have any weapons at all to protect themselves in case of riots, which are forthcoming, I believe.
Now, some other headlines that people can check out that are of interest. George already mentioned the neutron beam scientist has disappeared. But what's interesting, and this goes back to something that I reported on radio here in Toronto back in the late 70s, early 80s, The Pentagon, you can read the article, they're now admitting it. The headline says, Pentagon looks to breed synthetic organisms.